You're listening to RTLSA.
Tuesday means Tuesday Talks all the way from the Mother City. Dave Romero, good morning. Almost said afternoon. Jesus, it's been a long day.
Good. Yeah, it's still morning. Good morning.
Dave, I did something silly last night. I only went to bed after 4 this morning because I binge watched a TV series. I've been dying to finish Salvation now for a while, and I decided last night, that's it. I'm doing it. Put my mind to it, and I was so late this morning for everything.
Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
It was really good. It was a really good series. I quite enjoyed it. I hated the ending though. But anyway, doesn't that always happen when you're watching a series and you just do not like the way it ends, and it sort of like ruins seasons for you?
So is that the end of the series, or is there another year coming on?
Who knows? They left it hanging. So.
They normally do that, don't they?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I really did not like the way it turned out. So I kind of feel like I've wasted time in my life watching 2 seasons of this series, and then all of a sudden,
the worst, right?
I know, I should have read a book rather. Dave, you've been good.
I'm not going to say anything about that. You know my stance on that.
No, exactly. You've been good, Dave.
Yeah, I've been good. It's been a good week. Can't believe it's October. Yeah, it's really crazy. Hey, look, it's been an interesting year for me. A lot of changes. I practice mindfulness, so I take each day at a time, but still with slowing things down, be mindful, have peace in my head. At times just still carries on. It's just, that's the way it is.
I saw a post on Facebook today, and on that post it said there are 11 Saturdays left before Christmas Eve.
Wow, I can't believe it.
Crazy.
Well, I can. It's crazy. Yeah. It's time marches on, and this is why it's so important that you make each day meaningful. Because before you know it, in your 80s, and then you turn around and you say, what the hell happened? So make each day count.
I was horrified when I got a message last week saying that I have been booked for New Year's Eve. I haven't even thought about New Year's Eve yet. I was just like, what? Come on, you're kidding. Surely I can't be preparing for 2023 yet. Come on, I haven't even started 2022 yet.
I think the fact that you were asked to do that means that you're in high regard. They didn't leave you to the last moment. They're trying to book you well in advance. So that's good news for you, because then you're obviously doing something right. No.
But it's still scary, because that means that there's only 12 Saturdays left before New Year's Eve. That's a scary thought, Dave. Scary thought.
Yeah, but you know what? And the thing is this, that every year we probably say the same thing.
We do.
Around this time.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
I remember saying around about this time last year that's exactly how I felt about 2021 as well.
Yeah. And we'll do next year and the year after that. That's why we have to live each day at a time, as if it's the last day.
Should we?
And not live for the future. Can't live for the future. You have to live for the now.
Should we talk about this for a second? And I'll tell you, we didn't plan this, but should we talk about this for a second? Because I've kind of battled with that, and lately I've been thinking a lot about so much focus on the future and living in the past and not embracing the present. And I know you've brought this up before, you've spoken about this before, but now thinking about the future, now we're now 12 weeks away from 2023, and should we be really worried about that? Because we've still got 12 weeks of this year to deal with.
But I guess so when people say I'm worried about the future, I mean, what are you worried in particular? Are you worried financially, health-wise? Because the practice of actually worrying for the future is futile, right? The act of worrying, and I know it's so difficult. It's so difficult not to get into that space. Okay, but But the thing is this, that you obviously you want plans for the future. Okay, you can't just be reckless and just live for today and don't worry about tomorrow. Okay, that you plan, you have a plan, you have a path, and you carry on with that plan and path. But it's pointless to worry about it. If suppose you've got a particular plan and that is not achieved, then you recalibrate and carry on. Okay, so we rob ourselves so much of living when we think about the past and why things have happened. Now, it is important to consider about the past and learn from the past and bank it and let go. Bank it, you learn, and you let go. Okay, you can't sit and wallow today and think, why did I do that shit a couple of years ago or last year? You can't, because that just robs you of your time now. So learn from it. Bank.
I like
love. You know, be gentle with yourself. Forgive yourself if you fucked up. Okay, forgive yourself. Sorry, but it's important. No, and move on. In terms of the future, how often does this happen? Okay.
Before we go to the future,
I know.
Before we go to the future, I just want to say something. You said something very pertinent there, and it's a good term. Bank it. Bank it.
Yes.
Because your past is an investment in your future. And I think that's where you're going with this. Bank it.
Absolutely. Bank it. What I mean by bank is learn from it. Learn from it. Okay. Don't get angst, and I've done it myself. I mean, I've experienced life, and you know, since I've moved to Muizenberg, like I've been saying, walk along the sea, one reflects, and it's happened to me where I think, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? Okay. So then when I go through a process, I say, okay, clearly I wasn't fucking thinking. and bank it and say, I'm not going to do that shit again. And that's what you learn from it. Okay. So that's the past, because you can't change the past, right? You can only change how you act moving forward. But you have to forgive yourself. Now, worry about the future. Okay. Try doing this when you do worry about things in the future. Okay, and I mean, you and I, we've talked offline many a time about this kind of situation. How many times does it happen that the things that you worry about actually come to be? How many times?
So I think a lot of times, if it does happen, it's because you manifested it to a large degree.
Okay, so they've done scientific studies about this. Okay, only 5% of what you actually worry about actually happens, and you're right. A lot of it it manifests itself because you make it manifest. Okay, so I don't for one moment try to say that you must be completely reckless. And when I say live for today, if you've got 20,000 rand in the bank, doesn't mean you just go and just blow it and just have a big fat party, etc. Okay, that's not what I mean, because then that is not actually living for the moment. Living for the moment is that each day, when you complete the day, did you have a productive, fruitful, and an impactful day? Okay, that's it. And then when you wake up in the morning, you wake up properly and you start the day again, and you make sure that day is productive, impactful. And what I mean by impactful, don't leave things. I think a lot of us are procrastinators, but when it comes to relationships with individuals, don't let things be. So, and we've discussed this before. If you don't have a good relationship with your parents, for instance, okay, don't say, okay, I'm on the phone tomorrow. For now, you must live almost on a basis that if you had to die today, is your affairs sorted, all your affairs sorted. I don't want to sound dramatic, but are your relationships sorted? Are your relationships with your children fine? Are your relationships with your family? And if they're not, if the answer is no, you fix it now. Don't say, "Oh, okay, I don't have the time now. I'm going to worry about it over the weekend." No, you sort your shit out now, so you live for the moment.
And I think that's very pertinent as well, because if you deal with it now, you take pressure off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Something that you don't have to worry about tomorrow.
And you know, with money, I've got an interesting philosophy about money, by the way, even though I'm a venture capitalist. But what one must do is one must always do your best. Okay, it's one of the agreements in the four agreements. Do your best. Okay, follow your passion. Be passionate about what you're doing. If you do your best and you follow your passion, money does follow you. Okay, and remember, the timing of when that happens is not your timing. Okay. You put it out there, you do your best, you do what you're passionate about, money does follow you. Okay. At times you might think, no, that's not happening, it's not happening quick enough, but it does turn. I know this to be true. I've gone through quite a few cycles where I've had immense wealth and I lost it as well. Okay. And you go through these cycles and you know that eventually things do come right. But what is critical though for things to come right in the future is to actually believe in yourself, in your capabilities and your abilities, okay, and believe in the process. Just have to believe in the process that things will turn around. If you're pessimistic and you believe that things will always go bad, and you've got a negative outlook towards life, you will manifest what you say.
That's so
things will be shit. They will be shit. And you got to turn around and you say, you see, because I'll turn around to you and say, but you fucking caused it.
Some people will turn around and say, no, their wheel turns too slowly. But it is a fact.
Yeah,
you speak about those cycles. Those cycles are absolutely, it is the truth. It does happen. And you just have to go back and think about where you've come from in your life and to realize and identify your high points and your low points and how that wheel has effectively turned.
What I've done actually for the last 5 years actually, I've tried to, because I'm a qualified accountant, but I don't practice as an accountant. I still keep things live, my finances live and that. Okay, so I monitor. I record each slip. Okay, and I categorize, and I've got a little income statement, so I know where money's been spent. And it's actually part of my spirituality. In the morning, I do my admin, and I know exactly what we're going in. But what it also does for me is it establishes patterns. Okay, so what I mean by this is if my income for the month is lower than my expenses, at the end it's a negative figure. It's a negative figure. And if I've been able to pay creditors and previous month's expenses, it's a positive. Okay. Now I've mapped a trend. And by mapping the trend gives me the confidence of looking to the future and saying it's fine, because I've mapped it that it goes through a cycle, and it's a natural cycle. It's a cycle. It's like a wave. It goes up and down, up and down. As long as your trajectory is upwards, within that trajectory, you'll have ups and downs. And I've proven this mathematically.
It's pretty much like the trend of stocks on a stock market. If the trends are if the stocks are doing well, the trend is there are downs, yes, but the trend is generally heading in the right direction.
So that's a very good example. If you trace the Johannesburg stock market with that trajectory of going up, you'll see up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and that's life. It's everything oscillates. Even our atoms, we composed of atoms. They oscillate. Everything oscillates. Everything's up and down. If you recognize that basic truth, when you're feeling down, then it doesn't affect you to the extent it would because you know that there is an upturn. But you have to believe that, though. You have to believe it.
Now, one of the things that we were going to talk about today was life after COVID. And it kind of ties into what we're talking about now, because I know from personal experience someone who was majorly affected financially by the pandemic, and a lot of other people have battled to survive through it. How do people like us not look back? How do we embrace life after COVID, and what should life after COVID look like for people who were really impacted by this pandemic?
Well, it's all relative. I think we humans have got ability to recover quickly, and to get back to some level of call it normality. And I've seen some people recover quickly, and I've seen some people that are still recovering. Okay, and it's all relative to the individuals. But the reason I brought this up for us to discuss, just think about it now. I guess just think back 2 years ago, how relevant that was, and it impacted all our lives, right? In some form or other. Now we don't even talk about it. It's just amazing. Now, and it's just a couple of years ago that it had such a massive impact on our lives.
Well,
and
exactly.
now
a couple of years ago, there was no end in sight. We didn't know when it was going to end, how it was going to end, what it was going to be like. And you're right, 2 years down the line, we kind of don't even think it existed.
We don't talk about, and the thing is this, what is critical is this, in this form of analysis, I think, is when we were going through it, remember, we were saying, oh my word, this is it's like watching a movie in real time. How are we going to get out of this? Remember, while we were living in it,
yeah.
It was the most intense situation that the whole world was going through. Now it's just all moved on. I mean, we have moved on. Okay, with some scars, some yes, and as I said, some people, and particularly in the entertainment industry, some people still trying to recover, but these people that are recovering and going back to some form of normality. I mean, look at it for yourself as well. No, I mean, you picked up and you survived it. I mean, that impacted you dramatically. No, but you made a plan, you survived, and now you sort of picking up the pieces and growing from what it is to the extent that's not even mentioned COVID. I don't see any news about it. I don't even know what the stats are globally. It's just we've just moved on. It's the same with the Ukraine war, right? Remember, I mean, 7 months into it, and we would speak about it on a weekly basis. Now it does feature on the news, I mean, particularly when the Ukrainians go blow up that bridge linking Crimea to Russia. I love it. Love the audacity and pushing the Russians back, etc. But again, we don't talk about it. It just shows you the resilience of humanity. That we, whatever we go through now, and this is so important now, whatever we go through now, and however dark and just in total despair of what you're going through, just know from reality that you'll get through it. In the main, that you'll get through it and you'll be fine. You'll end up being fine.
Do you think that resilience is a natural instinct for a human being, or do you think it's something that is garnered and nurtured over time? Because I've seen people that aren't that resilient.
I believe that, and this is my morning mantra when I go for my walks. I say that I'm much more than I appear to be. I've got all the power and energy of the world in me, inside me. I believe that. I believe that I am capable of achieving whatever I set myself to achieve. I believe that. So yes, I go through dips and I doubt. Like, we're all human. And there are moments where I walk on the beach and I look up upstairs and saying, "What the hell? What are you trying to teach me?" Kind of thing. And we all have those moments, but in the main, we know that we can be fine. I've got 3 wonderful kids, as you know. They're my champion children, and the greatest title that I carry is the one that is daddy. And my kids always say this to me, and I'm profoundly proud of this. They look at me and they say to me, "Daddy, you always make a plan. Daddy, you always make a plan." Now, we all have that capability. It might not seem at the time. That when we're going through these problems and these pitfalls. But if we're resilient and we keep our level head and keep the right attitude, this is very important, we keep the right attitude and we believe in ourselves, in our own capabilities, we do come out of the situation.
No, but I wanted to ask us. You talk about walking on the beach and saying that you are more than this, you're bigger than this. I've tried on numerous occasions that type of self-affirmation or whatever, but kind of I get this feeling that I look in the mirror and I say that to myself. I say, "You are better than this. You're bigger than this. You're worth more. You are whatever," and I'm not sure that I really believe myself when I look at myself in the mirror. How do you get to a point where you actually are absolutely convinced that you are all the things that you are, all the positive affirmations that you are talking into your life?
But okay, it takes time. No, when I do live mentorship, one of the things that I ask my mentees is, "Are you able to look at yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the eye, and say I love you?" And you'll be surprised how many people can't. Okay, because they don't like what they are and they don't like what they represent. Okay, so when you look and you affirm, remember the power of the spoken words is very strong. Okay, so the way you talk, the way you communicate, that you might not at the time believe that completely, but through repetition, your subconscious mind, your subconscious starts believing it, and it starts acting on it. Remember, your subconscious mind is continuously working, okay? And we feed our subconscious mind. So if we feed it with positive affirmations and watching the right stuff and reading the right stuff, and you constantly put that in, okay, eventually bear results. It's the same as an athlete, right? Remember, our brains are a muscle. It's an athlete, right? If you want to now run comrades, you've never run the comrades, okay? First of all, when you start that process, you believe you even though you make the commitment that you're going to run it, you don't believe that you can. Okay, initially, you say to your friends, "I'm going to run the comrades," but deep inside you just turn around and you say, I don't believe it. But then you start training, right? 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers, and if you persist with this, and you persist with the training, and you persist with being motivated and the right attitude towards it, doing it, you eventually do it. Okay, but at the time when you start the process, you probably might not believe it. It's the same with your brain. Okay, it's the same situation. It's what you put in here. It's a muscle. What you put in here and what goes in your subconscious manifests physically. This is why when people keep on saying, "I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick," and they're not sick, but they're sick. They eventually do get sick.
Yeah, but now your analogy of training for the comrades is one thing, because you are gradually improving your body on a daily basis to be able to withstand that or that training and that distance and whatever. It takes a bit of time. But now I kind of feel, I firstly, I've just got to say this. I'm a big firm believer on positive affirmations and talking to yourself and training your mind. But are you trying to fake your mind into believing that you are better than you are by using these affirmations? Are you trying to fake it till you make it type thing? Are you trying to fool your mind?
No, I don't think that it's trying to fool your mind. But at times, we're very hard on ourselves. No, and by just continuously talking through it and practicing it, it eventually becomes reality. Okay, so you're not trying to fool your mind, but it's better. What we're suggesting doing is better than looking yourself in the mirror and saying you're ugly, you're useless, you're good for nothing, because then that also goes into your mind. Okay, so the practice of affirming, even though you don't believe it, eventually you do believe it. If that makes sense. Eventually you convince yourself, because what happens is this: when you feed your mind with positive stuff, okay, and I mean in all aspects of what you do. If you sit, I know people that love watching horror movies, okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, watching it. But if you continuously watch horror movies, I promise you, it will have an impact in your life. It's the same with watching. If you watch aggressive movies or war movies, that's content negative, etc., it has an impact on you. I mean, this is scientifically proven.
Yeah,
it is scientifically proven that what you put in your head it does manifest physically. So it's not fooling your mind. It's just affirming. Your belief has to catch up with your words.
Yeah, and I think naturally people are naturally pessimistic and negative, and it's a conscious decision to train your mind to be positive, because obviously then things like the law of attraction come into works and a good feeling and whatever. Speaking about good feelings, do you have a good feeling today?
Well, we're already there.
We are already there.
Oh my word! Okay, yeah, I do have a good feeling. Let's just see if we can affirm this one.
Well, you should have a good feeling, because nobody got it wrong today. It's actually quite easy.
You see, okay, there you go. It's not a measure of my ability to answer correctly.
Well, you did get it right last week, even with a narrowed down parameter to give you the options. But let's get into it, Dave.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Time to test your knowledge with Power Play Trivia.
Your Power Play Trivia brought to you by Bev Miller. Today's question, Dave, are you ready for it? I think it's quite easy.
I'm ready.
All right, the question is, what is the only continent in the world to be known as snake-free? No snakes on this continent.
On the continent?
Yeah.
Australia.
No, Australia's got the most. By far.
What? Oh, Europe. Must be Europe.
No, there are snakes in Europe.
Asia.
No, there's snakes in Asia.
I'm not obviously fucking Antarctica, man.
Yes, obviously Antarctica.
Well,
You know what,
obviously.
Dave? I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you today. I'm feeling kind
It's
of
Antarctica,
generous.
right? That's to be.
Antarctica is correct.
Of course. What was I thinking? I mean,
I don't know what you were
give it to me?
thinking. Dave, have an excellent
give it to
week.
me.
Now you've got it. You got it. You're on a two-week streak now. And we'll see you next week if you can make it 3. Have an excellent week,
All right,
Dave,
Paul.
and we'll catch up with you next week again.
You're listening to RTLSA.